What we have in Ajaokuta, it is a plant that once you put it on, you cannot put it off again for 10 years.
While this massive plant lay dormant, a South Korean company with a similar-sized plant, built a year later by the same Soviet Union engineers, has grown to become one of the 4 largest steel producers in the world, with revenues of about $50 billion a year. But after more than 3 decades, corrupt government officials and their lobbyists made sure that the Ajaokuta Steel Company never took off.
And why I'm telling government to stop wasting money on that plant. It is dead on arrival. It is time for us to move on.
With over 90% of the needed resources already expended, the question in everyone's mind is, why is the AISM not operational? The technology here is over 40 years old. Is it still safe and lucrative for the government to invest in revitalizing this Ajaokuta Steel Company?
It doesn't make any economic idea for the Nigerian government to continue to spend money every year. You budget money every year on Ajaokuta.
A dusty haze hangs over one of Africa's biggest steel plants as an eagle flies overhead surveying the scene below. For more than 3 decades, Ajaokuta's 41 plants that include steel, electricity, cement and fertilizer plants have been idle, despite the Soviet-era met facility being 95% complete.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Caesar Sahene Yayi. I am your advocate for the industrial development of Africa, a process that I continue to insist must begin here in Nigeria. Very quickly, I want to talk about Ajaokuta because I receive a lot of protests from Nigerians that why should I say Ajaokuta will never work. I want to quickly make clarifications so that people will understand the fundamentals of the flaws that are associated with Ajaokuta Steel Complex.
Ajaokuta Steel Project is located on a 24,000 hectares of land. This edifice was conceived in 1958 and the foundation stone was laid in 1980 by the then President of Nigeria, Alhaji Usman Aliyu Shehu Shagari, GCFR. From the report of the detailed technical audits of the Ajaokuta Steel Plant carried out in 2018, Phase 1 is estimated to be about 95.6% technically ready, projected to produce an estimate of 1.3 million tons of steel per year. It is fascinating to know that this complex is built to be self-sufficient. Everything needed for smooth running can be produced inside. Even machine parts can be forged in the complex instead of waiting for importation when a machine part goes bad. The plant is also designed to produce its own electricity for smooth and non-stop running of the mill. The Ajaokuta Iron and Steel Mill envision employment generation of about 10,000 direct technical staff, 500,000 indirect jobs for unskilled, semi-skilled and skilled in the downstream and upstream industries and services. Like I said earlier, this place was built self-sufficient. The facilities in the last 43 years are still about 80% in good shape. There's idle workers who work daily and keep some technology running, especially the underbelly drainage system, as a part of this complex is built on a part of the River Niger sand field. Unfortunately, since the plant was built, it has not produced its first molten steel sheet or flat sheet, but hot rollings of rod and rebars. With over 90% of the needed resources already expended, the question in everyone's mind is, why is the AISM not operational? The technology here is over 40 years old. Is it still safe and lucrative for the government to invest in revitalizing this Ajaokuta Steel Company? And most importantly, will the labor and resources deployed by our heroes past continue to lay fallow?
Ajaokuta Steel Complex was built more than 4 decades ago. It is a 1970 technology, just like the one we have in Delta Steel Complex. But there are 2 different types of plants. Delta Steel Complex is a direct reduction, while Ajaokuta is a blast furnace. There are up to about 4 reasons So let me elucidate them one by one. The first reason is that what we have in Ajaokuta is a BF, a blast furnace. It is a plant that once you put it on, you cannot put it off again for 10 years. Nigeria does not have the capability to run such a plant that must run on constant, uninterrupted electricity. On the other hand, the direct reduction that we have in Delta State, you can put it on and off, on and off. So that is one of the major disadvantages of Ajaokuta Steel Complex, and why I'm telling government to stop wasting money on that plant. It is dead on arrival. It is time for us to move on. The second reason is that you cannot use blast furnace to produce iron ingots without introducing coke. Coke is not available in Nigeria. When I check the price of coke, it is $235 per ton, and you need almost 1 ton of coke to produce 1 ton of iron ingot. Yet, on the international market, iron ingot, that is iron that has been refined from iron ore, is selling for $300 FOB. So look at it. If you are going to refine iron ore from our iron ore that's available here in Nigeria, and you need an input of coke that will cost you $235 FOB, you have to also add cost, insurance, transport, and freight. By the time you add all that, you are already working at a disadvantage.
While this massive plant lay dormant, a South Korean company with a similar-sized plant, built a year later by the same Soviet Union engineers, has grown to become one of the 4 largest steel producers in the world, with revenues of about $50 billion a year. But after more than 3 decades, corrupt government officials and their lobbyists made sure that the Ajaokuta Steel Company never took off.
There are other problems. How about the logistics to move the iron ore from Itakpe to where the plant is? It doesn't exist. We have tried to build it. I went there, everything has been vandalized. As if that is not enough. Number 4 problem is that our iron ore is only 33% content. 33%. That of Turkey, that of Ukraine, that of Australia is a minimum of 66%. So you see that it will not make any economic sense for us to waste our energy doing that, because we have scarce resources. We don't have enough money to waste on something that we can import on the cheap. Why should we import iron ingots? Because when you import iron ingots, you can use machinery to add value to it without having to waste your energy to produce iron from 33% iron content. That is an economic waste. So what do you do with Ajaokuta? You close it down. The rolling mill there can be useful, but the blast furnace to make iron ingot is completely a waste because it is too expensive. Coke, you have to import. Imagine you import coke and you discharge it at Lagos port. There are no cargo railway system to transport it to Ajaokuta. Therefore, you will have to put them on truck. Imagine how much it will cost you to freight it from Lagos to Ajaokuta before you now start to think of how to make the process. It is impossible. Instead, we should aim to close that plant. Whatever it is that we can use there, if there's a rolling mill, we can use the rolling mill to process the iron ingots that we will bring into final products.
While the company waits for more government support, many Nigerians wonder why a country, which currently has a foreign reserves of $45 billion cannot find a way to complete such an important project and kickstart the industrialization process.
So you see that if we want to be logical, if we want to make economic sense, it doesn't make any economic idea for the Nigerian government to continue to spend money every year. You budget money every year on Ajaokuta. It is not going anywhere. Because our people, they lack the industrial technology intelligence, because they refuse to read. They claim that they are ministers. I don't know where they bring them from. They walk about, they gallivant, they do not consult, they do not make any inquiries, and they just say, oh, let's prepare a budget for Ajaokuta Steel Complex. And all that amount to economic waste. Because that sum total can be added to other funds and be used in other areas where Nigeria needs development. You cannot execute what you don't dream of. You have to dream of it. You have to say in 3 years' time, this is where I want Nigeria to be. And you bring out your plans and be honest with yourself and try to execute it. I remain your advocate for the industrial development of Africa. The process, I believe, will begin here in Nigeria. My name is Dr. Caesar Osahene Iyayi. Until next time, bye-bye.